It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. It is that time again for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. We'll be talking to Blake coming up in just a second. First of all, let me give you some contact information. You're going to hear a lot of information over the next 30 minutes you're going to want to get more information about. More information on the information, that's cool. Give Blake a call at his office at Sloan Realty Group at 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. You can also go online to blakesloan.com. BlakeSloan.com. Very simple stuff, but in case you missed it, you want to write it down next time. We'll repeat that information several times over the next 30 minutes. In the meantime, let's get the show started. Here's Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Got a awesome special show today. Like I told Dave, I have not been to bed yet, have not been to sleep in I don't even know how many hours. Knew I was not at any Christmas parties. I just flew back in, literally just got off a plane a few minutes ago, went straight to the office, wrote the show out, and came here. So we'll see what happens with this one. Overall, I go to my coach lives in Laguna Beach, California. I go there once a quarter and went there. Literally flew 3 days ago, spent 2 full days with him, 12 plus hours a day. Got back on the plane last night, 7:30 their time, whatever.
Right.
3 connections because it's a small airport there in John Wayne Airport. If anyone's ever been there, but to Phoenix to Charlotte to Myrtle Beach. And so it's been a long, don't even know how many hours. But anyways, we're here. We're super pumped. And that just shows, I talk about all the time how I'm crazy. I went to some of my staff in the office. I'm like, hey, look, I'm here. I haven't been to bed yet, but that's what we do. We get stuff done. So great show. Super excited. Super pumped up about next year. Like I told y'all a few weeks ago, like my team is pushing to the finish line. That's our theme as a company, finish line, so everyone's pushing hard. And so today we got some awesome success stories we'll talk about. The main thing I want to go over is the micro market numbers, right? Those are out from last month. They are kind of crazy to say the least. We got some with like 30% decrease in sales in a key part, for example, in Myrtle Beach, the city, and some areas with huge increases in sales last month. And so very, very interesting. We also had a record last month set, if you remember from last week's show in regards to inventory overall. We'll talk about what that was, how that matters. And I've actually had a few things on the last couple weeks list that I want to make sure we got to. That was very powerful. We just did not have time to do it. One was look at the average amount of equity that sellers have gained in the past years nationally. It's crazy. It surprised me even. And so obviously it surprised a lot of homeowners. They have a lot more equity than they think they do. And so we'll kind of talk about what those numbers are, what they look like as well. Again, some great success stories. And if I have time, I'll talk about top 10 ways to get maximum value for your home as well.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to, and we're just scratching the surface. So who is this Blake Sloan guy? If you're just tuning in for the very first time, Blake's been called the real estate whiz kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications. Seen him on TV as well with NBC, also with Fox and Friends, the morning show. You've heard the endorsements on this very radio station from Sean Hannity, from Glenn Beck, Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVox, and others. Put those all together, unprecedented in the world of real estate, especially in the Myrtle Beach area. Now, he also, Blake does, has trademark systems to help both buyers and sellers. Can't give you all the secrets about those trademark systems, but the most important part of that system comes down to one thing and one thing only.
Yes, and this is like my calls, and I spent probably 5-6 hours out in California just kind of riding through all the challenges that we see day in, day out that consumers have. Everyone out there listening in regards to who do I use, why should I use them, who do I trust? There's all these things. And so it comes down to really what brings success or failure in real estate. And this is something we've been preaching for a long time because my cause really behind this show is that the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent you choose, period. I could not be more clear about that because everyone makes this huge mistake thinking that all real estate agents are the same. It could not be further from the truth, right? They make that mistake of thinking that everybody's just a commodity. And ultimately what you're doing that with is your largest asset, right? So that brings a lot of challenges, a lot of pain, a lot of money loss. We see that day in, day out. 2 of our success stories today where people had huge challenges before they actually called us. And so the reality is, why is that the case? It's very similar to a doctor or lawyer, right? If you're charged with a crime you did not commit, do you just want any old lawyer, or you want the absolute best who specializes in that type of law? It's the same thing here in real estate, right? You want the absolute best who pushes hard, who goes the extra mile. And so the reason that breaks down to in selling a house, there's 118 different variables from A to Z, meaning that there's 118 different points where you can either gain some leverage or lose some leverage, right? Meaning that it gives you an advantage or brings you a disadvantage. That's all the way from how the photos are taken, the order of the photos, how it's marketed, how it's negotiated. That's all these pieces, right? Does the agent answer the phone? And so what happens is most agents, you have one single agent trying to juggle all these balls by themselves, and the reality is not able to do 118 variables on multiple listings and continue to service their clients at a high level. It's just not possible. So what happens is most agents just do the three P's, right? They promise the world to get your listing. Two, they just put it to the MLS. And three, they pray that someone else through the MLS brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street hunting down the next listing. And so that's why you see such a huge amount of properties do not sell, or there's frustration and not communication there. And so what we did, and what's really separated us, and like I said, got us in Forbes and Wall Street Journal, is really dove in and reverse engineered success, right? So we basically figured out, okay, how many variables are there? That's how we know there's 118 of them. We identified every single one on a giant whiteboard and built out a system that proactively manages those from A to Z. And so we create leverage at point one, create leverage at point two, and you stack those up like dominoes. At the end, it creates a massive gap between us and everyone else. The analogy I use the most in the show, which is the best one I found, is like running a marathon, right? Everyone takes off at the same time. Shotgun start, everyone starts sprinting. But what you find over time, everyone spreads out. Some finish 2 and 3 hours ahead of some people. And guess what? A lot of people don't finish. And so that's the same exact thing you see with your home sale. And so what we did, reverse engineered those with both the technology and people of our team. We manage those variables proactively to give you, the client, a huge competitive advantage, right? For sellers, it's called the guaranteed sold system. It's the only proven system to sell homes twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And for the buyers out there, guess what? You have 100 plus different variables. Usually those variables are the opposite, right? On the flip side of the transaction. So what we did is we identified all those and created a system that's proven and repeatable that gives our client the ultimate competitive advantage on the buy side. That's called the unfair advantage home buying system. It gets you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation when negotiating price, and also home inspection. This is something we see all the time. I mentioned this before, but just like a great example about negotiation, like it takes a lot of experience. We do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deals every single year, pretty much 1 to 2 a day. But the average agent or MLS sells less than 4 homes a year. I think it's 3.57 on last year's numbers. And so the reality of that, it's hard for them to pay rent. It's hard for them to eat selling those type of houses, and based on the income that you get, right? The percentage, if you do the math, there's not a whole lot of money there. And so when it comes down to, are they going to fight for your equity or fight for your, that when the money doesn't matter, are they going to make that double down on that price whenever you need to hold the line? Or are they going to throw you under the bus in 2 seconds because they're trying to eat? We see it happen all the time. You know why? Because we're usually on the flip side of that transaction. We're able to kind of get them up or get them down based on what we want. So these are all small variables that make or break it, right? Does your agent actually answer the phone? When they do after 5 o'clock, whatever it is, there's somebody responding to their leads online. All the time, those things matter. And so the single most important variable that determines your success or failure comes down to the agent you choose. And people hear this week after week, but when they see it, it absolutely blows their mind. Why? Because one, we know what the variables are. Two, we have systems and processes that manage these variables ahead of time so that we can control the outcome and control those variables to give you that advantage.
All right, sounds good. We'll tell you what, we are just getting started. We've got a lot of things to get to here in the very, 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 very near future, including we've got some real estate update information for you, including the micro markets, as Blake told you about. In addition to that, we've got some other things to get to, including the interest rate. A little bit later on, we'll get the hot buyers alert. You name it, we get to it all throughout the course of the show. What you need to get to is a phone and call Blake Sloan in his office at 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com.
Hey, if you are in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Kennedy here with some important advice. Now look, I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot, cold, moderate markets. And one of the lessons I have learned is this. Hire the agent that knows how to create the most demand for your home. Now, if I needed to create demand in this market, no question, there's only one real estate agent I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, he services the entire Myrtle Beach area, attracts hundreds of buyers every week, and sells a home on average every 24 hours. Now that helps you generate multiple offers and sell your home for the most money possible. Plus, it's like getting an immediate offer on your home because if your home doesn't sell for the price and the deadline you agreed to, you will have it bought for cash and he offers flexible fees. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agreed to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
The Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. As you heard, the phone number is 843-808-SOLD. Coming up in a minute, some of the most important numbers you're going to be hearing all weekend long, which is the interest rates. See what the mortgage rates are looking like. Right now, though, let's see what some of the other numbers are looking like as we break down the local market. What kind of stuff are you seeing there?
It's crazy. We got some areas with 30+% decrease in sales. We got some areas with a 50% increase in sales. So we'll break those down real quick. Quick recap for anyone that missed last week's show. The overall macro market, right, which is like the entire Grand Strip. If you look at everything, and the one that kind of gauges is the best gauge is single family, which is pretty much what everyone owns and lives in. Resale homes, right, because that's kind of the big thing there. It was up 18.5% last month from the same month last year, right? Okay. November, which is great. Yeah. I'm still, a little curious about like the whole hurricane issue both last year and this year, kind of what it played into those numbers, getting skewed a little bit. But overall, 18.5% increase. There's 468 home sales. The key number though, price, right? Price is up last month 3.4%, $228,500, which is great. Again, if you go back to April of 2016, it was 179.9. So big jump there overall. Again, that's a lot of equity that people have that they didn't really realize they had. Now the key number here that we're looking at, inventory. Inventory is looking at 4.6 months inventory, which is the lowest it's been since it's been tracked, and the data goes back to January 2016. And it's the closest it's come twice was once in January 2018, and then once, basically earlier on this year when it came down to 4.9 months. All of a sudden, boom, it dropped 13% down to 4.6 months. What that means is there's less homes to choose from, right? So you're seeing multiple offers in some cases. You're seeing, people paying full price, depending on what that is, because there's less availability out there in regards to homes available. So it's good for sellers, bad for home buyers. Why? Because you're going to get bid out sometimes. There's just not as much to choose from. But as a home seller, right, you want to sell when people need it. And so that's one thing that's kind of the alarming thing for me. We watch it kind of creep down and creep down. We've been pretty blessed here in our marketplace compared to some places in the country. But it's a huge opportunity going into January. I'm telling you, because this is the lowest we've seen it ever at 4.6 months. And so that means less competition for you, less neighbors like yours that you're out there. So the buyers have less to choose from. They're going to have to pull the trigger on something. And so as long as you're getting the right marketing, the right exposure, that's going to make a big difference. So we'll talk about that more as well. But that's the big aha I had from this, overall marketplace here in the last month. In condo sales up 2.6% last month. So pretty flat there overall. Sales price up 8.8%, which is awesome. Right now it's at $141,500 in that regard. Going back to March 2016, is $108,499. So great increase in equity there for everyone, which is a big thing that I've seen a lot. A lot of home sales out there have a lot more than they think they do, especially based on when they bought. Right now for condo inventory, it's at 4.9 months. So also below 5. It's not quite the lowest. The lowest we ever seen was at 4.6 in July 2018, but it's still very, very close at 4.9 months, which is probably the second lowest I got right here on the chart. But same thing, anything below 5 months, it's getting kind of scarce, right? And so that's one thing. Anytime you get below 4, just from I have friends and colleagues I'm super tight with across the country that I'm always trying to figure out what's going on, what's going to happen next. Once it gets below 4, there becomes kind of like a pause because buyers get so frustrated, right? They just kind of get out the marketplace. And so what happens is it tends to then slow sales down, but it doesn't fix the inventory problem as much. And so you want to find the sweet spot overall. Obviously, some seasonality to that. And so that's just something to kind of keep in mind, especially, because obviously we're coming from the holidays. If you want to get ready for that. And if you want to hit the ground running, the lowest inventory run into is going to be coming into January, right? And so you don't want to wait to the spring. Why is that? Because guess who else waits to the spring? Everybody, your competition, right? And so that was kind of some of those national numbers I was going to share, where you can watch the graphs and the whole country goes up in the spring market, and so you have more competition, right? And so that's true because we see buyers will look at 7, 8 houses, and they pick usually the top 2 or 3, and it comes down to well, we went with this one, or the husband likes this one, the wife likes this one, and so ultimately that could be what's keeping yours from. We've had some homes before that need a little update. They'll be second place for 6 sets of buyers, right? And the buyers are going with something else that they see as a higher value. And so these details do matter, based on how you do that. So that's the interesting part overall with there. And so that's the quick overview. Now, here's the crazy numbers for the micro market. This is what I get the most feedback on. This is what everyone kind of asks about, what's my area doing? Because this matters. And if you're not having, if you've had an agent before that never broke that down to you, this stuff is what makes or breaks you. If you got one area, with a 37% decrease in sales, you got another area, zip code, that's got a 50% increase in sales, don't you think your strategy might change a little bit, right? But the problem is most agents don't even have access to this data. They don't even know it exists, and much less know how to really, look at it and make good decisions or advise their clients. So this is why everyone who listens to the show does have an advantage. All we want to do is provide value to you out there, and hopefully kind of give you something to talk about and really just make better decisions as a homeowner, right? So check it out. I'm going to fly through it really quick just so everyone can kind of get what their area is. We sell everywhere. We sell from North Carolina, Southern North Carolina, all the way down past Georgetown, all the way out. And so we have people on our team spread everywhere in our company. But check it out, Myrtle Beach right now. It's just 29572 and 29577 zip codes. That's what I've typically used as the most kind of the central point, because that's obviously the central point. But closed sales last month down 37.7%, which is shocking. So, for example, last year, November 2018, there were 77 sales. This year, only 48 sales. And so that was kind of shocking to look at as well. Price, though, was up 1.2% last month. So it went from 311 to 315. No big deal there overall. The one thing, too, that you're seeing the inventory staying pretty tight overall, but that was kind of an interesting thing. Year to date, though, Myrtle Beach, though, sales are up 8.2%, which is great. Prices down 1.2%, where it went 319 to 315. A lot of it has to do with inventory. What's selling? Where's that? What's the product? I mean, you're not seeing a huge change in price there, and you're kind of seeing that ceiling, in my opinion, of some of those areas for the median price, about that 315 range, because obviously you have certain pockets, certain neighborhoods that we have that we do, and so that's one thing that we run into. And I just bought an investment property in Dunes Cove this past week, and so we buy and sell a lot of stuff in regards to us, and it all depends on what you want as the consumer, right? We have what we call maximum convenience, where we can have it bought out immediately without having to do anything to it, or we have maximum price, where we can get you the absolute top dollar, which we're best at. I mean, we're very, very good at that. That's kind of what makes us excited and what we're really good at doing too. But we want to obviously be able to provide convenience for everybody out there who wants. We have a fund that will buy out immediately if that's something that the consumer wants in that regard. And so that's an option there as well. But right now, condos and Myrtle Beach up 9.4% last month. So great for condo sales last month. Prices for condos in Myrtle Beach up 14.7%. So it went from 122 to 139.9, which is awesome overall. Now check this out. From a 37% decrease in sales, jump up a little bit to North Myrtle Beach, 50% increase in sales, which is awesome, right? So went from 44 to 66. And so that's not a huge amount of numbers there, but obviously that's a lot more than previous year, right? Some has to do with inventory, right? A little bit more inventory there. As you can tell, they're filling up the empty lots in North Myrtle Beach. Anything across 17 is getting built on, right? And so median price, North Myrtle Beach. North Myrtle Beach is kicking butt. We sold a bunch there the past month, but check it out. Prices up 14.1% last month alone. So it went from 317 to 362. Why is that? There's a lot of deals. I mean, there's some great oceanfront deals. There's great second row deals right now out there. And so year to date, price in North Myrtle Beach up 13.1% at 345. And so that's great there as well overall. And a lot of it has to do with a lot more beach type properties. If you notice, there's a lot more in those zip codes on first, second, third, fourth, fifth row, where you don't have that same thing in the city of Myrtle Beach, right, where it's more hotel zone and things like that. So there's a lot of different pieces to that puzzle, and so it all depends on your neighborhood in that regard too. Closed sales for condos in North Myrtle Beach down 7.9% last month. Prices down 8.6% last month from 180 to 164. The great news though, prices up year to date 2.7% at 190. So you can see though how this is kind of hard to navigate unless you actually watch these things like every single day and every month in regards to picking strategy, because you pick the wrong strategy and sales are up 50%, you're going to leave some money on the table, right? So Carolina Forest, second biggest this past month, up 40.7% for sales in Carolina Forest. I mean, I haven't even seen these type numbers in a very long time. It went from 59 to 83 sales. Price up 1.8%, went from 280 to 284. In my opinion, you're going to see price move up because we always know that increase in sales always puts pressure on price, which is the lagging indicator, right? And so with a 40% increase in sales, you're definitely going to see what prices go up because people are paying more money. They're getting multiple offers, and there's just less inventory out there, which is kind of what you run into overall as well. And so that's just interesting. It takes about 133 days on market for the ones that did sell in Carolina Forest, which is actually pretty good. Year to date, sales are actually down a little bit, 5.2% year to date. So you can see how it's pretty much kicking a lot of butt lately. It has to do with inventory, a lot of new construction. As anybody's been through Carolina Forest Boulevard, you're seeing what? A lot of building, right? And so some of the inventory is finally catching up and able to get moved. And these reports here, they incorporate both new construction and resale, right? So that's something that we would segment out for you if you wanted to in your regard. Into Loris and Longs, 30.2% increase in sales, which is awesome. Median sale price up 19.1% last month. Do you see that thing? Because there's obviously last month you saw a huge jump in sales too. Went from 163 to 194, 195 in Loris and Long. So we've been crushing Loris and Long lately too, man. We've sold properties with acreage in there, a bunch of stuff. We sold a horse farm. So there's a lot of stuff that we've been all over the place that people are looking because what? Larger lots. They're able to move a little farther in. They're okay with that, and still some good affordability as well. That's something that's awesome as well overall. And the one thing too that we're running into, obviously no condos there. Surfside, 9.5% increase in sales for Surfside last month, which is awesome. Price dropped a little bit, went from 250 to 246. Not a big deal there. Year to date, Surfside is up 6.3%, and price is up 3.4%. And so Surfside still doing great. My mom actually still lives in Surfside. I grew up in Surfside on 10th Avenue North my whole life, so we sell a lot of stuff down there too. And that's a great little similar market to North Myrtle Beach and Surfside, very similar. Garden City, Myrtle's Inlet, closed sales last month up 4.6%, which is great. Median sale price down 2.2%. It's at 283,500, where it was at 290. And so year to date, though, Garden City, Myrtle's Inlet is kicking butt. They're up 8.0% in sales. There's been 904 sales down there this year, which is great. And price pretty even. It's at 277, 616 from 275. And so here's the crazy part. So last month there was 23.7% less listings than the same month last year, meaning less availability, right? And so you put on top of that, an increase in sales, that's going to drive more pressure in price. And so that's what we look at when we create a formula. We call it a marketing strategy. And we tailor every single strategy to that house because you got to look at this type of data, right? Where I want to see what's available is out there because if I got 30% less properties and 40% increase in sales, guess what? We're going to be a little more aggressive in that and not leave any money on the table. I can't tell you how many agents. What's the average agent do? They pull the last 3 comps that sold. Look at the actives. They never take the time to look at the micro market data to help you see. That's my, I guess, I use that as my that's the word I'm looking for, level of aggressiveness that we're going to go. So sometimes we'll push the limit super high because guess what? You see a huge increase in sales, right? You haven't seen the price really fall that yet, and you see a decrease in availability. We're going to play that game aggressive from a seller standpoint because that's what we advise our client to do. So that way you don't leave money on the table. This is a small kind of secret there. Pauley's Island, Litchfield, closed sales exactly the same. 36 last year, 36 this year. This is crazy. Prices, the same exact 355, 355. So pretty flat. The good news though, year to date, Pauley's Litchfield up 15.8% in sales. Prices up 5.6% at 359 even, which is super great. Georgetown, a little slow last month. They dropped something from 22 sales down to 17 sales. Prices is up though 3.2%. Median right now last month was 190, which is awesome overall. And Conway, Conway's been, if you remember from a couple of months ago, the last few months, Conway's been kicking butt too, just because there's more land out there, right? So they're building every possible thing they can. You see it everywhere anytime you drive out there. But sales last month up 18.9%. And here's the crazy thing. Listings available down 24.7%. And so this is a perfect example of that formula I was telling you about. Right. So here's the kind of recap. New listings down 24%, closed 18%. Now, the price, though, was only up 5.7% last month. So when you look at the first two numbers, what's going to happen to the third number? You're going to see that jump up towards double digits in the next 2 months. And so that's an example of how we play the strategy more aggressive to get our client more money, right? And so these are these small details that you only learn through selling thousands of houses that you don't want to leave your money on the table for your client. Like we gave the example a few weeks ago. Oh, so and so sold their house in 3 hours. Well, so and so left $10,000 on the table too because they didn't price it as high as they probably could have to maximize that value, right? So Conway doing great year to date, up 8.8% overall. Median sale price up 7.2%, went from 170 to 182. And so overall, man, it's pretty good. As you can see, a little interesting to kind of to navigate overall, and that's why you want somebody who knows what the heck they're doing to tell you, hey, look, here's what's going on. Here's how you do it. You can probably diagnose yourself on WebMD, but the reality is you want to kind of know for yourself. And Ainer doing great, up 2.0% this year. How much time we got?
Oh, we got a little under 3 minutes, but I mean, we got mortgage rates. You want to look at that?
Yeah, we'll jump straight to mortgage rates and then success stories. That's cool. We'll skip that break. We got to. Here's one thing driving this is super low mortgage rates. 3.79% last week. Right now, it's simply up to 3.81. It's been dancing back and forth, right? So that's like even Thursday it was 3.76%. So bottom line is that's what's driving a lot of these sales here. People making moves who've been on the fence for a while because money's so cheap, right, to make that move. And also their affordability is there. 15-year fixed rate, 3.46%. 30-year FHA loan, 3.43%. A jumbo, 3.91%. And a 5-year adjust rate mortgage, 3.50%. That's what's moving for sure. You want to do hot buyers real quick?
Yeah, I mean, hot buyers alert. I mean, I know that you're looking for homes, obviously, anywhere in the range from 150 to 3.5 million. We got 55,219 active home buyers in that are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area. And I mean, literally the world. They're looking to come here. They're looking for inventory, and you need to get them.
Like crazy. And this is the lowest it's been ever on record, right? So I need homes. If you're thinking about selling, if your neighbor, your friend, your cousin, your relative, have them call us, 843-808-SOLD. We need inventory, as you just heard from this whole report. And really, I got time for one success story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so really quick, I'm super proud of our team. Big shout out to Orville and Gina. Had their home listed with a different agent 6 months, did not sell. No action, no offers, only frustration. They want to move to Texas to obviously be with family. They had a dream house they were picked out. They missed out on it because the agent didn't get their home sold.
Yeah.
So they heard about success stories on the radio, on this show actually, reached out to us, custom strategy, global marketing blitz. We launched our program, had it within 2 weeks, had a full price offer and negotiated a closing date to allow them to buy the other house in Texas seamlessly, right? Same exact house, same everything, different marketing, right? In that regard. How much time I got?
We got about a minute left.
Okay, one more. Jerry and Sharon had their house in the market, different 6 months, different agent, no success, right? Only headaches and broken promises. This is a second home for them, only 2 weeks out of the year. We came in and did the same thing I talked about, super aggressive price. We went high with it, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos. Under a couple of weeks, we had a full price offer on their home. Now they got out the second home with maximum equity in their pocket. So don't leave money on the table, especially in a market right now when inventory is low. You can get more money for your house.
Absolutely. That's just the bottom line, and that's what you'll be getting with Blake Sloan and Sloan Realty Group. Hopefully you learned something. If you want to get in touch with Blake, please do. His phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. If you're looking it up, make sure and look for Sloan Realty Group. There are imitators, but this is it. Sloan Realty Group. Make sure you get it right. Or go online to BlakeSloan.com. Blake, get some sleep.
I'm excited now. I'm going to go all the way through. You can't stop me now.
We'll do it again next week.
Yes, sir.
It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.